Thanksgiving has always been one of Jennifer Garner's favorite holidays, a time for family, warmth, simplicity, and heartfelt gratitude. But this year, what was meant to be a cozy, intimate celebration took a heartbreaking turn that left her stunned, shaken, and blindsided. While the world expected Jennifer and her longtime partner John Miller to step into the holiday season with joy and the promise of a new chapter together, the exact opposite happened behind closed doors. According to multiple insiders close to the couple's inner circle, John Miller unexpectedly called off their engagement in the middle of what was meant to be a warm Thanksgiving dinner, leaving Jennifer deeply emotional and visibly distressed. This wasn't just a quiet, private decision. It was a moment that reportedly unfolded with tension thick enough to silence the entire room. Guests had barely settled in when the atmosphere shifted, and Jennifer's world took a sharp turn she never saw coming. Those who know Jennifer closest say she had stepped into the Thanksgiving holiday with high hopes. The months leading up to the dinner had been filled with quiet hints, discussions about homes, blending family routines, and subtle clues that the couple was finally ready to take the next big step. Jennifer, ever the nurturing and optimistic partner, believed the proposal was not just certain but imminent. She had even begun confiding in a few of her closest friends, expressing how grateful she felt to finally have found balance after years of emotional turbulence. But behind the scenes, John had been quietly wrestling with doubts. Sources say he felt the relationship had become more complicated than he initially expected, especially with ongoing public attention swirling around Jennifer's co-parenting with Ben Affleck and how often their paths seemed to cross lately. Despite his deep affection for Jennifer, the pressure, according to insiders, had been slowly building, and Thanksgiving became the moment everything cracked open. The room was reportedly filled with warm laughter, dinner simmering on the stove, and the soft glow of holiday candles when John asked Jennifer if they could speak privately. Those nearby say Jennifer's expression went from excitement to confusion within seconds. What happened in that quiet corner of the house left her completely crushed. John quietly revealed that he couldn't move forward with their engagement, that he wasn't ready, that the timing felt wrong, and that he needed space to rethink everything. Jennifer, caught completely off guard, was said to be speechless, her eyes filling with tears as she tried to make sense of the sudden emotional blow. The quiet conversation quickly turned into a heavier, more emotional exchange as Jennifer reportedly asked what had changed and why he didn't confide in her sooner. By the time their private discussion was over, guests sensed the shift immediately as Jennifer returned to the dining room visibly shaken, trying to hold herself together. Despite the emotional shock, Jennifer still had one thing firmly in her heart: her children. Those present shared that she tried her best to remain composed, focusing on keeping the Thanksgiving atmosphere warm for her kids. But it was impossible to hide the heartbreak. One insider described her as trying to smile, but her eyes told a different story. After dinner, Jennifer reportedly stepped outside for a long walk to gather her emotions, processing the heartbreak in silence. Friends say she kept repeating the same question. Why now? Why today of all days? While John has always been known as a private, steady figure, sources reveal he felt overwhelmed by everything happening in Jennifer's world. Between increased media focus on her interactions with Ben Affleck, the pressures of blending family lives, and the expectations that naturally build in long-term relationships, John quietly felt suffocated. He reportedly feared stepping into an engagement that he wasn't emotionally prepared to sustain. To him, calling it off before it went too far felt like the responsible choice. To Jennifer, it felt like a trust she fully believed in had suddenly crumbled beneath her feet. In the days following Thanksgiving, Jennifer has reportedly been leaning heavily on her closest friends, seeking comfort, clarity, and perspective. Those around her say she has moments of strength where she reminds herself of her resilience, balancing motherhood, work, and constant public scrutiny, but also moments where the sudden heartbreak hits her all over again. Even though this Thanksgiving didn't end with the celebration she hoped for, Jennifer's future remains wide open. There is still grace in how she carries herself, still warmth in her interactions, still hope in the way she approaches life. For now, she is choosing healing over heartbreak, reflection over resentment, and peace over panic. But the shock of that Thanksgiving moment, John calling off the engagement in the middle of what was meant to be a milestone evening, will undoubtedly stay with her for a long time. If you're finding this story gripping so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now so you never miss our latest updates on Hollywood's biggest developments.